Genesis. Show my hardcore is.
Today we're going to talk about basically breathing hacks that are going to help you prepare for your workouts that you can do, during the day when you're not doing anything, standing in line, at work, really just throughout the day type of breathing exercises, as well methods to breathe during your workouts that are going to allow you to be able to get the most oxygen into your system no matter how intense the workout is, so you will be able to complete it as quickly and efficiently as possible. The base of all our breathing methods that really stems back towards meditation and yoga and that type of thing is learning to first fully inhale so you are able to take in as much air as possible and fill your lungs as much as possible. And this type of breathing is known basically as belly breathing. Belly breathing basically means that you are breathing in through the belly instead of that short breath where you may think you're taking a deep breath, but instead your shoulders are going up and you're feeling it. You think you're feeling your lungs, your chest expands. With belly breathing, we're basically trying to push, suck our air in by pulling our diaphragm down and expanding our stomach outward to fully inflate not just the top of our lungs, but all the way down into the base. And so the way you're going to do belly breathing optimally, the first thing we always want to do is start breathing inhale and exhale through your nose. And so to do that is not just going to be your typical breathing in. We want you to picture more of a kind of flaring your nostrils. Doesn't have to be that exaggerated, but kind of opening your nostrils so that it's like a wind tunnel where the air is coming in and like rolling down the back of your throat compared to just getting sucked in. So instead of this, you're going to be more open, and even then it should feel like you're able to take more air in with a lot less effort. If you've ever put on something like a Breathe Right strip to help with exercise or snoring at night, or if you had a cold and it pulls the nasal passages open, that is kind of the feeling you're going to have, just not to that degree. But the main focus is to really allow it to be able to pass down the back of your throat, and that's going to give you the most air during each inhalation. The second part of that is basically why it's called belly breathing. Like I said, is while you're trying to take in air and inhale, you're going to try to basically fill your stomach, or fill your lungs and the base of your lungs so much, and fill that cavity up with so much air that the belly is going to come out, and as the more air you suck in. Typically, if you've seen people breathe, their chest goes up and their stomach actually goes in, which is not what we want. So from the side, what we don't want is, if you see I'm here and then exhale, my stomach goes back out. We want to go the opposite way, to where nose is open, it's going down the back of my throat. One more time. And one of the keys with that I've noticed going back and watching a lot of games film, regionals, a lot of the really good CrossFit athletes who always exceed in really no matter what workout, how they bounce and recover from workouts. They're the guys that are on the ground for 30 seconds to a minute after the workout, and then they're up, ready to go. Well, if you go back and watch any of those videos, if you're able to see any of them actually compete live or competing against them, and they always seem to just kind of never run out of air, watch how they breathe. There's been times where you see people like Spieler and Rich Froning, where other guys that are really fatigued, they're breathing in and out through their mouth, and that chest and shoulders are heaving and collapsing, and Spieler and Froning kind of look like they have basically a baby, because they're breathing deep, solid breaths down the back of their throat. Stomach's going to protrude, come back out. So each breath that they're doing not only is going to allow them to take in the most air as possible, it controls their breathing, so it takes them out of what a lot of people call that panic breathing state, where you just can't feel like you ever get enough air, especially in stuff like thrusters, or like a Fran is a great example, where it just feels like, because you're vertical up and down so many different directions, so many in both variations, pull-ups and thrusters, that you just can't seem to get that good deep breath during the movement. And it's because all that pressure is coming down the chest, so people are, they can't fight through that to get that lift, but learning to breathe through the belly is allowing you really, no matter what weight you're doing, you're still able to push it out and pull it back in without the extra weight that you're carrying or trying to move, or the amount of body weight that you're trying to move really affecting it. I'm no yogi, so I'm probably going to butcher these pronunciations, but there's 4 stages or phases of breathing that you really want to be aware of when you're breathing and just practicing this stuff at home before workouts. It's a great way to just calm your nerves, you know, right before a competition kicks off. Stage 1 is called Piraka, and it's basically inhalation, where, just like I said, using from that belly, you know, with the nose open, you're inhaling, letting it down the back of your throat, nice and controlled. No matter, even when you're fatigued, especially during just your training workouts, it's great to, when you come off the bar or drop the weight or get back in from a run, really focus on forcing yourself to get into that breathing pattern and control and regulate your breathing, which we'll talk about different ways to do that later on. Again, Piraka is phase 1, inhalation. The second phase is called Kumbhaka, I think. Basically, it is holding that breath to kind of maximize the oxygen retention into going into the bloodstream. When again, these are basically the yoga breakdowns in terms of exercise and fitness. This isn't as important because we want to get it back out and get our next breath back in a good controlled manner. Holding your breath is a great way to basically pass out or really just crash in the middle of a workout. Of course, that's pretty much common sense, but it's still great to know, because the way you're going to train and just base your base belly breathing techniques that you're going to be doing day in and day out before and after workouts does put this into effect, so it's something you need to know. Phase 3 is called Virchaka, I think. It basically is for exhalation, where that is the key. If you've ever heard of other type of breathing techniques that we'll get into, like anatomic breathing, those type of things, exhalation is the key, because it is going to forcefully, you know, during exercise, forcefully expel that carbon dioxide, creating a vacuum, so it's easier to inhale the oxygen and get the oxygen back into your lungs without having to work so hard for it. Yoga-wise, it's a little different type of yoga-wise, and training is a little outside of workouts. It's a little different type of pattern, but it's still, you know, something that you really want to make sure that that's your main focus. It's the most important one out of all 4, as weird as that sounds. And then the final one is Baya Kumbhaka, I believe, and it's basically an empty hold with basically no air in your lungs, just training yourself to kind of get used to that. And we'll talk a lot more about the way I use this to just help increase, you know, oxygen, reduce that panic, shortness of breath aspect, teach the body and the brain to operate on a little less oxygen if needed. But those are basically the 4 breathing phases. Give you guys some homework. Outside of your, you know, your basic workouts, there's basically I want you to practice belly breathing as much as possible. And the way we want to do it is a good solid way where your inhalation, phase 1, the Piraka, is going to be 4 seconds in. You're going to hold for 2 seconds. Your Kumbhaka is a hold, just 2 seconds. And then 4 seconds out for your Virchaka. So making sure that entire time the belly is what's going in and out. You're never coming up and down. Stay nice and relaxed, nice and loose. Let it do its work. If that kind of instigates that panic mode, you're not used to breathing that slowly and controlled, you can always go 3-1-3-1. But I really want you guys to work 4-2-4-2. Just starting off during your everyday type, just your everyday activities. When I'm sitting, when I'm working, when I'm coaching, when I'm meditating, when I'm trying to go to sleep at night, when I'm doing anything in the day, I try to consciously become aware of my breathing and just train my body to stay controlled, to learn to optimize the oxygen it takes in, to maximize the oxygen in each breath by following basically the 4-2-4-2 count. This is one of the things that they teach a lot of Navy SEALs, a lot of Special Forces guys, to help relax them, calm their nerves. clear their minds so they're able to focus on the task at hand. It's what I use for about 2 or 3 minutes before workouts or before competition workouts. It's something I tried. I've tried basically the past 2 competitions I'd never tried before, and now that I'm able to train more, I've actually been able to tell a difference by using this daily and using it as a kind of a mind relaxer and body relaxer to before workouts. So give this a try as often as possible. The next video I'll talk, when we talk about breathing again, I'll talk about different types of things like breathing ladders that we utilize just to help kind of maximize that breathing recovery during workouts, away from workouts, in a fatigue state, those type of things, to make sure that really you're able to optimize your oxygen no matter what position, no matter what workout you're doing, no matter what movement, no matter how deep into the workout you are. And it's also going to make sure it is a great way for recovery in between workouts, especially for multi-day or multi-workout day competitions. So thanks for checking it out. That belly breathing, while you're not doing anything, be sure to check out the link below for all our other videos. Subscribe if you haven't. Now you guys know, knowing's half the battle.
Genesis. Show my hardcore is, you know what I'm saying? Yo.